Nope, nobody reached out to me from the press. And I think they did for the controversy on Hogwarts Legacy. So I did get some people asking about that, but not on GamerGate. Um, so yeah, nobody asked me about GamerGate at all.
What do you think the
What was it?
media? Oh, good.
Oh, there was a second part about you were asking about
Oh,
how they.
yes. How they covered it.
Yeah, yeah. I just felt like they were pushing an easy to understand narrative.
Did
So
this
yeah, it was
did
poor
this
coverage.
coverage decrease your trust in media?
Oh yeah, it absolutely did, especially in our own games media. Like I said before, when the press articles first dropped around 2014, I thought there must be some real problem there, and the more I investigated, the more it looked like no, this was a much smaller and more of a petty thing. That identity politics where they were trying to push an agenda, and so yeah, it changed my position on the gaming press in particular quite a bit.
If a journalist who got Gamergate wrong in your eyes is reading this now, what do you want them to reconsider?
Um, uh, to me, I think they should just investigate, consider the possibility that there's more to the story. I mean, I don't feel like people have to agree with me on everything. I just hope that people try and have well-informed positions and try and, examine all positions. If they feel like they've got a pretty good handle on the different positions and disagree with me, that's cool. But I mostly find myself disappointed with that blocking mentality of I already have the truth, and so anything you have to say is flat out wrong, and I'm just here to preach at you. That's where I am disappointed.
What's your favorite video game?
It changes all the time, and I have a hard time picking favorites. Um, in terms of lots of hours, I really put a lot into XCOM 2, and I really like the Firaxis team with Jake Solomon, although they've left Firaxis now. So I think that's a great game. I've been playing a ton of Baldur's Gate 3 lately. I think that's a very well done game, although it's buggier than I think it should be. I put a lot of time into Elite Dangerous. Man, I could go on and on and on about all the games that I like, and it changes all the time. So I don't know that I have one favorite game though. To me, I experience each game on its kind of its merits and let it take me for its journey. And sometimes I find that very wonderful, and sometimes I find it, underwhelming.
Yeah, the XCOM games are great. Like what the expansion to
Yeah,
XCOM 2? Oh my gosh. It's amazing.
yeah, the Chosen. Yeah,
Yeah, War of the Chosen.
yeah, loved it. Excellent, really good stuff.
Do you have any thoughts on Vivian James or Gamergate related art projects?
Yeah, I liked the Vivian James art project. I used it in several of my videos. I used her as a representative, just kind of saying. I loved how she was always just like fed up with the whole thing. That attitude that she had was my favorite. It was just like, oh my gosh, this again. Yeah.
What was your favorite moment during Gamergate?
I don't know. I felt like coming back and picking back over it. I didn't. I felt like I was an investigator coming to the scene after it had all kind of blown over. So I don't know. I don't know that I have a favorite moment. Do you have a favorite moment? I mean, is there something that stands out to you?
Oh no. Oh no, I ask everybody this question. Uh, oh man, it's a
I'm
difficult one to
turning I'm
answer.
turning the tables. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard because I'm like, yeah.
Um, hmm. I think I'm not sure it's not a moment, but the people I met along the way were amazing. As for a specific incident,
Yeah.
maybe writing the book, but that's after Gamergate happened, the first book I wrote. Um,
Yeah.
I did it in like 2 months, and I have over 200 sources. It was
Wow.
a passion project for sure. Every day after
Yeah.
work, pretty much, just boom, 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 right, research. Well, I knew most of the incidents, so I just had to find the sources, verify the sources, things like that. But I was so heavily involved in the movement that it all this was 2019. It all flew right back into my mind instantly.
Yeah, I haven't read it. Sounds like I should. 200 sources. You probably got the definitive work.
Yeah, I love the work. It's actually I think it holds up very well. I think the ending where I talk about how we can improve our discourse and move on from here, I think that needs to be reworked because well, I don't know how we improve our discourse. I really don't. And I thought if we just engaged with one another, um, things might be different. But our politics is so heated today, and nobody talks to each other. They only talk in their echo chambers, and I don't know.
Right. I mean, yeah, we were talking earlier, and that was my concern is that I did that an open letter to Anita Sarkeesian. I was a bit snarky in it, but I'm totally willing to get out and talk to people who are on opposite sides of this. But I don't even know what the opposite side is because I'm just in favor of everybody getting along and making good games and trying to figure out how to get there. But it seems like there's that elitist group that just wants to block you, that just you're not on the right team and so you're blocked, and I don't know how you reach out to people who are blocking you, and so yeah, that's a good point. I don't know how you do that. It becomes just about, like, it becomes religious is what it is. You're not of the right religion.
Obviously, you weren't involved, but as an observer, if you could have changed one thing about GamerGate, what would it have been?
Well, if I could change one thing, it would be the animosity that it turned into something so ugly, when I think that we had and still do have issues within the games industry that need to be addressed, kind of as a culture of gamers, as a culture of developers, and that it made it so kind of ugly right out of the gate, um, and hard for us to, it seems, to talk to each other without the politics. So, but I think podcasts or interviews or books like yours are a step in the right direction, because you are trying to talk to different people and get different perspectives and say, this is the hard work. What you're doing right here is getting the people to talk to each other that might have different opinions, and synthesizing them and making sense of it. So I think that's the way for us to move forward. But that's a very classical liberal approach. The solution to free speech is more free speech. The solution to dialogue and discussion is more dialogue and discussion. It's always about getting more information moving ahead. It's really hard to talk to somebody if they think they've already got all the answers.
Yeah, and I definitely want to get more anti-GamerGate people. I've got 4 confirmed anti-GG people, um, but 2 of them are doing text interviews only, not
Uh,
voice. So
yeah.
it's not the same. It's just responding to a questionnaire basically, and I'm gonna probably send some follow-ups maybe depending on what they say, but it's not the same. It's voice is having a real conversation like this. I feel like one, it's better for the book, and two, I think it allows you to be challenged, and me to be challenged too, live.
Yeah, I think it's good. I feel like I kind of wander about trying to put my thoughts into words. So, make me look smart if you put me in the book.
Everyone's gonna be in the book. I'm even interviewing a third-party troll who just fucked with people on both sides.
Oh, wow.
He's one of the people
Wow.
who actually sent a threat to Brianna Wu, and he
Really? Yeah.
also allegedly uh, there's some other stuff too, but I'm not gonna say too much before I he harassed people on both sides. He harassed some GamerGate people too.
Yeah. And I wondered, I figured some people were doing that, right? That they were probably just like, woohoo, everybody fight. I love it.
Yeah, there definitely were. There were a lot of people like that. Well, when I say a lot, I mean like at least probably a couple dozen people who were
Yeah, it
just
doesn't
trying to fuck
doesn't
with everybody.
yeah, and that's what the data showed from Twitter too, right? That women actually in the media, when they went and gathered it, was like, it looks like it's just coming from a few accounts. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, moving towards the end, let's say it's 10 years from now, and an online movement is looking to Gamergate, Black Lives Matter, and Occupy Wall Street for guidance for their movement. What advice do you have for them?
Wow, what a interesting question. Well, I don't for me, the most important thing in any sort of movement, and I guess in the case of like Gamergate, you would have an ideological stance that you're trying to say. In this case, I'd say it was the classical liberal position that we're viewing it from. That to me, the thing to be successful in any movement is that you're going to have to figure out what your ideals and principles are up front, and then make sure you hold yourselves to those same standards. So if you're in this case, in Gamergate's case, the classical liberal standards, I think you have to say, here's my position. I'm for free speech. I'm against censorship. I'm against collusion. I'm against corruption. And then you have to walk the walk and talk the talk. Uh, because it seems to me the problems start when those movements um, eat themselves, like Black Lives Matter. It seems to be an example of where they said that they had these positions, and then certain elements within it started to go against those positions, and they become hypocritical. And I don't know. I don't know if that in any way answers your question, but to me, it's just about figure out what it is you're trying to do and what your principles are, and make sure you abide by your own principles so that you don't become some sort of hypocrite in the process.
What have you personally learned from GamerGate?
Wow. Um, yeah, I suppose there's lots of different angles I could go there. I mean, I already said it changed the way that I felt about gaming press. It also changed the way I felt about game development in general. And so just personally going through that kind of Gamergate thing, followed by going through the Hogwarts Legacy experience that I had, which was, kind of an outgrowth of my videos on Gamergate, and having the press come after me years later for those videos, kind of made me realize that I was really Pollyanna and naive in the way that I had been viewing the games industry, for 25 years or whatever, uh, as something that people were doing out of love for the art. And I kind of had to realize, okay, there are a lot of people who are kind of on the periphery, who don't really even care that much about games themselves, but have other agendas, or maybe they're in it more for, financial reasons, or just for personal aggrandizement reasons or ideological reasons, and just kind of recognizing that, oh wow, not everybody who's involved in games um, shares that same passion and dedication to making good product and to having a good time with players. But to me, it was kind of like an awakening. Gamergate woke me up to the ideological underpinnings that were sweeping into our culture, and kind of made me feel differently about game development. It just made me think like, wow, um, there is a group of people out there who aren't really interested in games at all, but they see it as a platform to push agendas. Kind of
Probably
surprised me, I guess.
people, I guess,
Yeah.
on the left and the right. I mean, you talked about Milo and Breitbart.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I guess it was that loss of innocence. It went from being like it was all about games to now it's kind of about politics. Now it's got all that, and it made me feel a little bit sad, because it felt like the golden age of gaming was in sunset, and now we were moving into some new phase, like Hollywood, kind of just like Hollywood. It felt like at a time they were probably about making great movies and stuff, and then it became about something else. Felt like that to me for games too.
Was Gamergate successful in your eyes?
I think it was. Yes, I think it forced a lot of the conversations to happen that needed to happen, and I see that in the Hogwarts Legacy boycott and the reaction that happened. That I think that the consumers said, "All right, press, we're not going to play your game here," um, and I believe that GamerGate laid the foundations for consumers to be skeptical of their gaming press, and I'm not sure that it would have been as skeptical had Gamergate not come along.
What do you think of this interview project?
I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's 9 years later, and it really takes me back, trying to put myself in the mindset of what was going on, and then just how things have changed over time. So I appreciate you contextualizing Gamergate, and it's weird to me that it still comes up. The Stacey Henley called me an alt-right Gamergate troll, which, kind of out of the blue. Um, And I was like, wow, that has long legs on it. So I guess it is still culturally relevant 9 years later. It's crazy.
I guess that's what happens when you get a president elected.
Yeah.
Obviously
GamerGate
a
elected
joke.
Trump.
For context for the
Yeah.
book, that was obviously a joke.
Yeah, I got it.
Hi, I'm Tachyon Blue. Thank you for watching another one of my GamerGate book video segments. Altogether, I've interviewed over 70 people involved with GamerGate, and I'm going to be launching a Kickstarter campaign in the coming weeks. So please, I need your support to help make this project a reality. I'm turning these 70 plus interviews into a multi volume series of books, the first volume of which is already completed. And so I'd like you to please stay tuned for more information about the Kickstarter. And if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and comment. More updates will be coming in the near future. Thank you, and take care.